Welcome to the Logistics Point interviews. We're joined by Barry Conlon, who is the CEO and founder at Overhaul, and we're going to talk about ocean theft cargo and how to counteract it. Barry, thank you very much for joining me.
Pleasure. Nice to meet you.
The problem is serious, but what does it actually mean for the industry, and what are the consequences?
Cargo theft is a big problem through all modes. Be it on a container or a land movement, or even at an airport where it's going on board, cookie sheet going onto an aircraft. Cargo theft is a problem wherever freight rests, wherever it's acceptable and people can put their hand on it. From a criminal standpoint, it's a very, very profitable enterprise. You could steal $1 million load, a relatively non-risk endeavor for a lot of criminals, because the opportunity to actually get your hands on that level of value is all around you, and you can sell that for 10 cents on the dollar. So you virtually have no risk, no downside, and you have huge rewards. So criminals are aware of that. These are very organized individuals, organized gangs. They specialize in this area, and when they strike, they normally have a logistics operation that's comparable to the victim's logistics operation in how they move that product into the grey or black market and make a vast profit on that.
What can companies do to minimize the impact, secure shipments?
It really is a company problem or a freight forwarder problem that they have to address, because law enforcement see this as a property crime. The first question they would ask you if you reported a theft is, are you insured? Well, contact your insurance company. So the insurance industry takes it very seriously. The shipper industry has to take it seriously. For a shipper, there are solutions you can embrace. Like, obviously, that's one of the reasons why we're successful, is that the most important thing is to know your partners, to know your carriers, to know who has their hands on your freight. And that's very, very difficult for a lot of shippers, because typically you contract out to a freight forwarder, 3 or 4 PL, and there's like 5 or 6 layers below them. There has to be a lot of subcontracting, because that's the only way you can make this organized chaos, which is supply chain. When it gets down into the subcontracted layers that you deal with, that's where you have the problem. And typically a lot of shippers know they have a problem when the freight forwarder contacts them and says, look, we've lost the load, or it's missing, we're trying to find it. But we provide visibility that has that risk management edge to it. So when a typical theft occurs, there are symptoms that would develop pre any kind of negative event, like where you left your freight, how long is it sitting there, what kind of condition, what kind of some sensors might be feeding you information. So what is that telling you? What we call symptoms of loss, when they occur, that's really where you have your golden window to get in and interdict and correct. So minimizing that kind of risk using visibility is what we do in Overhaul. And there are things you can do, and they're surprisingly very successful. There are solutions like ours that you can use.
How can we identify the weakest point, the weakest link, and what steps do you think companies should take as a sort of a first thing to do when trying to counteract these things?
The weakest link is typically always human related. Somebody's doing something they shouldn't do. And in most cases, upwards of about 80% of cases, actually, that's because they didn't know what they were supposed to do. And that could be a courier, on the far side of the world who's doing the last mile delivery. And, so where we're successful is kind of really focusing on that human element. So there's no point in putting it in a dashboard that the shipper can see on a Monday morning when the problem's at 2 a.m. on a Saturday night. You really need to kind of get the information to the people where it matters. And that's collaboration with the vital people that are in the supply chain that you absolutely need. And drivers are under a lot of pressure globally. They have a hard job. They're trying to do a good job in most cases, and giving them kind of the power to be successful and to impress our joint customer is universally accepted by the industry as a good thing. It can't work without them. You will always need a driver. So giving them the information they need to be successful should be something that everybody embraces. And that's been our experience and why we've grown so rapidly.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. And as usual, people can learn more about the topic and Overhaul in the description below. Thank you.